Hello and welcome, dear friends. Today I'll talk about Ketu, the planet Ketu, and what results the planet Ketu will give in each of the 12 houses of your birth chart. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. What is Ketu? Ketu is a fiery element planet. Yes, it's a fiery planet. And Ketu is considered to be exalted in Scorpio. And in some books it's written that it's exalted in, Sagittarius. It's considered to be good in Pisces. And its Mool Trikon sign is Capricorn. So, Ketu in Bhrigunandi Nadi, also we believe in Nadi astrology that Ketu is the significator of obstruction or obstacles. Ketu is the significator of any kind of breakage. It is also the significator of any kind of union, even union. Now, we also believe in Nadi astrology that without the blessings of Ketu, no religious or spiritual ceremony can take place. Unless Ketu, Ketu's aspect is there on Jupiter. Jupiter is the significator of the native. Or at least if Ketu, the natal Ketu's aspect should be there when, Jupiter is, making, the natal Jupiter is making progression within the chart that we consider for the event to, to happen. Or at least Ketu in transit, should aspect. So Ketu's aspect is very important. So because Ketu is also the significator of thread. Now, say for example marriage. Marriage is also a spiritual, you can say, ceremony, and it's a spiritual institution, yes. So even for marriage to, get solemnized, Ketu's blessings are important. That is because the thread, that is worn, especially in Indian in Indian society, that is in different cultures across India. There is the significance of that thread which has beads. The beads are a thread with beads. It is called Mangal Sutra. Yes, so that thread, Ketu is the significator of that. So without Ketu, no religious or spiritual ceremony, not only marriage, it could be any religious or spiritual ceremony, it cannot take place without Ketu's blessing. Then what else we can say, friends? Ketu is also the significator of medicine, especially Ayurvedic or herbal medicine. Ketu is a significator also in Nadi astrology. It is a significator of government job, especially the railways also. Yes, Ketu is a significator of spiritual knowledge, spirituality, spiritual liberation. Ketu is also the significator of Vedic knowledge, traditional knowledge. Yes, that is why it is the significator of priesthood. Priests are seen, from Ketu. That is, Ketu signifies priests or saints or spiritual teachers or guides. So, Ketu. So, Ketu signifies actually all people who are, old and wise also. Aged, wise people. Ketu also signifies them. Now, so friends, what can we say? Let us look at Ketu's results if it is placed in the first house, okay? As I told you, friends, that even in Nadi astrology, we give importance to the Lagna or ascendant. That is, this is a North Indian style chart. It always begins with that particular sign, a zodiac sign, which was rising in the eastern horizon at the time of the native's birth. It begins with that particular sign. So that is called the ascendant sign. So we need to look at the ascendant also. So we give importance to the ascendant also. So today we will see with respect to the ascendant in different houses, if Ketu is placed, what results the native can expect. In the first house represents the body, the personality, the mind, the soul of the native. So in the first house, what results you can expect? Ketu doesn't have a head, as we know. Ketu is the dragon's tail and Rahu is the dragon's head. So Ketu is only the body. Ketu cannot think, but Ketu can feel, because Ketu has a heart. It doesn't have brain, but it has a heart. So Ketu can feel. Yes. So that is why people who have a strong Ketu, they feel for others. They have empathy or sympathy or love or compassion for others. Those who have a strong Ketu. It is not that, people who have a strong Ketu, they are totally unattached, they don't feel for anybody. It's not that. If you have a strong Ketu, you will have the feeling of love and compassion for people, for humanity, for others. You will have that feeling if you have a strong Ketu. Only when Ketu is afflicted, that you are totally devoid of, any feelings. And then sometimes people, also turn towards all kinds of antisocial activities and even terrorism and all that. Because they are now totally devoid of all feelings. And that is an afflicted Ketu. Okay friends. So first house, Ketu will give you good results over time, provided the native is able to have a sense of direction in life. That is very important, because it is seen that mostly when Ketu is in the first house, the native, for the most, say at least towards the first part of his life, he doesn't have a proper sense of direction. Ketu is headless. So the native is confused as to what he should do in life. He is unable to, find the purpose of his life. That is there. So it is very important that the native, should find a sense of direction. He should have a sense of direction. He should find his purpose in life. Then Ketu in the first house will give the native good results. Let us go to the second house. What results will Ketu give you in the second house? In the second house, if Ketu is not well placed means it should be in a good nakshatra. The lord of that nakshatra should not be inimical to Ketu. Then Ketu should be in a zodiac sign. The lord of that sign also should be well placed in the chart. So that is the position. That is how we judge. So friends, if Ketu is not well placed in the second house, then the native may have difficulty in speech. He may stammer while speaking and all. Or he may not be able to express himself or herself properly. If Ketu is in the second house, then because he is not able to express himself, he will also not be able to maintain good relationship with his family. And also difficulty in earning wealth also. Yes. And if Ketu is in the second house, friends, I have seen, even if people have wealth, they are always insecure about their wealth. They have wealth, they are insecure. A sense of insecurity is there. That also doesn't mean that they are very greedy. No, they are not greedy. At times they also feel that, earning money is useless and meaningless. They may feel that also. They are not attached also to wealth. But even then, there is a sense of insecurity. It is a very peculiar situation. It happens if Ketu is in the second house. And also they will never be also happy with their family members. Some dissatisfaction will always be there, in their hearts. That I have seen if Ketu is in the second house. But if Ketu is strongly placed and all, then these results will definitely get minimized. Now let us go to Ketu in the third house. Yes. What results you can expect if Ketu is in the third house? You can see, friends, this chart, first, second, third. Serially I'll go. Third house is the house of, it's also an Upachaya house. So Rahu and Ketu are believed to do well in Upachaya houses, that is 3, 6, 10 and 11. Provided in the third house Ketu is well placed, in a sign, in a good sign, in a good nakshatra. That is important. The dispositor of Ketu, how the dispositor, where the dispositor is placed, that is also important. If well placed, then in third house Ketu is considered to be very good. It will give the native, actually it will make the native very wealthy. Over time, no, the native will end up, earning a lot of money. That's what I have seen if Ketu is in the 3rd house. 3rd house is also the house of initiation, beginning something new, putting in your efforts, showing that courage and coming forward to, start something new also. 3rd house. So, there may be some delay because obstacles, I told you, Ketu signifies. So, some delay in, beginning something. You know that you have to begin, you know very well. But somehow or the other, there will be some obstacles. And maybe some of them are self-created. Because Ketu is in the 3rd house. And you will have to overcome them. Once the native overcomes those obstacles and, initiates a certain, project or work and puts in his or her efforts and also on a regular basis, then 3rd house Ketu will give you very good results. That's what I have seen. Now friends, let us go to the 4th house. If Ketu is in the 4th house, 4th house is actually the first house of Moksha Trikon. Yes, there are 3 Moksha Trikon houses, 4, 8 and 12. 4th house is the first Moksha Trikon house. So because it is considered to moksha or salvation, so 4th house Ketu is actually good. It is a good placement for Ketu, 4th house. Yes. But friends, one thing is also seen, that people who have Ketu in the 4th house, no, they will stay at home. It is not that they will not like to stay. They will like to stay at home. They will stay. Some people I have seen, they are also introvert. They like to stay only at home mostly. But some emptiness will be there. Something will be there, which will, always, make them feel, dissatisfied with the way things are, happening within the home, within the domestic sphere. They will not be happy or satisfied, even with their domestic life. That is there. That sense of dissatisfaction will be there. Though Ketu is there in the 4th house, so Rahu will be in the 10th house. So those people, they are very much ambitious in life, very much ambitious. And they want to work hard also to support their home, their family. When they, when they are working, when they, when they are at their workplace, no, they feel happy. Or maybe even if they are working from home, whenever they are at work, they feel happy. Because that, that is a mode of escape for them. That is what I have seen. Okay friends, now let us go to Ketu in the 5th house. You can see here 5th house is there. 5th house. In the 5th house, Ketu will, give a native strong intuition. Yes, strong intuition. Ketu, generally, Ketu is a planet of intuition. So say it is in the 2nd house, then it will give you intuition regarding money matters. If Ketu is well placed, Ketu will definitely give you intuition regarding the matters of that particular house where it is placed. If Ketu is placed in the 3rd house, then Ketu will, intuitively make you realize that what actually you need to initiate in life, what you need to begin, where you need to put in your efforts. You will intuitively know that yes, this is only the right path for me. If Ketu is in the 3rd house. Now friends, you know that Ketu is retrograde. So say your Ketu is posited in the 4th house. But Ketu's 50% presence and aspect in Nadi astrology, we believe, will also be in the 3rd house. So even if your Ketu is in the 4th house, you also should know that Ketu will also be considered to be in 3rd house. So 3rd house results also you will get. Okay, so I was talking about also intuition. Suppose Ketu is in the 4th house, then you will intuitively know things about your home and also all matters relating to 4th house, that is property, land. You will have a lot of intuition regarding those matters. regarding property. If somebody is trying to cheat on you, yes, with regard to property, you will immediately catch that person, because you have Ketu in the 4th house. That also I have seen. People cannot cheat on you easily, because you will intuitively come to know the intention of the person, especially in matters pertaining to land, property, even vehicles, even your home, yes, mental happiness, whatever 4th house denotes, you will be intuitive regarding that. Now suppose Ketu is in the 5th house. Now in the 5th house, the native is actually gifted with a great power of intuition. You can also have, people who have Ketu in the 5th house, they also sometimes, they are able to even recollect their past life also. But that happens very rarely. It happens only, when at the time of Ketu's Mahadasha it may happen. He may be able to get, a glimpse of even his past life. It happens, though it is not very easy. And that also requires, Ketu, also signifies meditation. People who have a strong Ketu, they always meditate. Yes, the Ketu, blesses you also with the power of concentration. That is also seen. When Ketu is well placed, if you have a strong Ketu, then you will be able to concentrate and you will be able to meditate. So, 5th house Ketu will enable you to know, will make you very intuitive, highly intuitive. That's what I have seen, 5th house Ketu. And it will also, regarding all matters of, but one thing, there may be obstacles in your education. 5th house is also the house of education. So some obstacles you may encounter in education, which you have to overcome. That is one thing. But otherwise, 5th house is also a Dharm Trikon house. 1, 5 and 9, no? So 5th house is a Dharm Trikon house. So even in religious matters, no, you will be very intuitive. You will intuitively know that which God you should worship, and you will be very intuitive if it is in the 5th house. And also intuitive in matters of love and romantic relationships, because Ketu is there. Yes. Then what else we can say? Speculation. 5th house is also the house of speculation and shares and all. So because Ketu is there, so your speculation also will be correct. That is also seen. But then you have to see how Ketu is placed. So Ketu has to be well placed, then only your speculation will be correct. Then Ketu in the 6th house. In the 6th house, I have seen that it may give you some health problems also sometimes. Problems related to digestion, some intestinal problem, stomach related problems also it can give you. If Ketu is not well placed, because Ketu is actually, 6th house is the house of diseases, especially. That is why all these, digestion problems and all, it can happen if Ketu is in the 6th house. So that is, we have to be very careful. But if Ketu is strongly placed in the 6th house, then you will intuitively know what your enemies are, plotting against you, and your enemies will not be able to harm you. If Ketu is strong in the 6th house. If Ketu is not strong in the 6th house and the person is headless and directionless, then enemies will be able to harm him. So friends, we need to look at the placement, how Ketu is placed. That will, decide the results that you are going to get, pertaining to the particular house in which Ketu is placed. So you have to also look at in which sign, in which nakshatra. So that will, tell you the story properly. Now, let us go to Ketu in the 7th house. In the 7th house, Ketu will make your spouse spiritual. I have seen that. Either the spouse will become spiritual. you will not be able to understand your spouse, because Ketu is, directionless, no? So it will be very difficult for you to understand what kind of a person your spouse is. Spouse is either husband or wife. Yes? So it will be difficult for you to understand him or her. And if Ketu is also well placed, then the spouse will be really spiritual. But then if the spouse turns towards spirituality, then what will happen, no? The marital life of the native, because the native may not be so spiritual, so then there may be some problems. If both are spiritual, then it will be very good, then it will be a very good match. But if the native is not so spiritual and now the spouse has turned spiritual, so then there will be some tension in marital or conjugal life. That is what I have seen. And also friends, 7th house is also the house of your independent business also. If you apply the Bhavat Bhavam concept, then 7th is also the house of 10th from the 10th house of profession. So it is also the house of your career and profession and independent business. So if Ketu is there, no, and if it is well placed, then you will intuitively know what sort of business you should do, and your business partner also will not be able to cheat on you, or you may do something on your own also. Then if it is well placed, you will do well in your independent business. Yes. Now let us go to Ketu in the 8th house. Ketu is anyway intimately connected to the 8th house. Yes, because Ketu is considered also in some books to be exalted in Scorpio. 8th house is the house of occult sciences, hidden knowledge. Yes. So Ketu is actually comfortable in the 8th house. Yes. But again, if Ketu is placed in the 8th house, then again the native may have some health problems, especially problems related to kidney. I have seen. Yes, kidney problems, or even piles, problems which are mainly related to especially the genital regions, some problem, some disease related to that. Also, yeah, even reproductive organs also, some disorder may be there if Ketu is in the 8th house. That's what I have seen. So you have to be careful about your health if Ketu is in the 8th house. Otherwise, Ketu will give very good results if especially the native is interested in occult sciences, any kind of occult sciences, including astrology, tarot card reading, face reading. There are so many kinds, no? Crystal gazing, all these occult sciences. So Ketu will give you good results if it is in the 8th house. You will have inclination also, you may have, and you will do well. And also all other things which the 8th house signifies. So you will be interested in those things. You can do well even as an insurance agent, in the taxation department also. If you work, you can do well, because intuitively you will do well in these areas also, because these fields of profession, they are also related to the 8th house. Now let us go to 9th house. If Ketu is in the 9th house, now this placement is also good, because in the chart of the Kalpurush or cosmic man, we have Sagittarius in the 9th house. Yes friends, and Sagittarius is the sign which is, Ketu is comfortable in the sign of Sagittarius. So this placement is also good for Ketu. You can acquire spiritual knowledge. Yes. And it is the 9th house is also the house of spiritual knowledge. In the 9th house, you will get good results if you are going towards spirituality actually. If you have an inclination towards gaining spiritual knowledge, then Ketu will give you very good results in the 9th house. Otherwise, if you are going towards materialism, then in the 9th house, Ketu may create obstacles in the path of your profession, in the path of your fortune, because 9th house is also the house of our fortune. So some obstacles in the path of fortune you will encounter. Because your energy, now you are going towards materialism. But Ketu is in the 9th house. Ketu wants you to go towards spirituality. You are going in the opposite direction. So obstacles Ketu will create. That is one thing. So everybody cannot become overnight. Suddenly we cannot become spiritual, I know. So what you should do, strike a balance between your materialistic pursuits and your spiritual inclination. Some balance should be there. So there is nothing wrong in having a desire to earn money, but make sure you also donate some money to some temple or to any place of worship. You donate some money. Yes, you donate some money to old people, old and needy people. Then you're maintaining a balance now between materialism and spirituality. Then Ketu will give you good results. In 9th house or in wherever it is placed, Ketu will give you good results if you do that. Now let us go to Ketu in the 10th house. In the 10th house, friends, though in the chart of the Kalpurush, Capricorn is there. So Ketu actually, Ketu's Mool Trikon sign is Capricorn, but you have to see in which sign actually Ketu is placed in the 10th house. In the 10th house, if a person has Ketu, the person is never satisfied with his performance at the workplace. He may do very well, he will actually be very efficient also, but he may not be so satisfied with his performance at the workplace. The dissatisfaction will be there. Yes, and also he may feel that what job I am doing, I don't deserve to be here, it is meaningless. That sense of meaninglessness will set in. That I have seen if Ketu is in the 10th house. And also Rahu will be in the 4th house. 4th house is your home. So maybe because Rahu is in the 4th house, so and 4th house is also the house of mental peace and happiness. So if you are not peaceful, yes, if there is if you don't have proper mental peace, then also it will be difficult for you to work. At the workplace also you may not be able to concentrate. Now Ketu is also there. So again if it is not well placed, again you may become headless or directionless in the workplace. You are working somewhere, but you may feel out of place. You may feel you don't belong there. And also you may do well, but you may feel that it is not enough. That sense of dissatisfaction. Yes, because Ketu is also a kind of thirst, which cannot be easily quenched. That is Ketu. Wherever Ketu is placed, that thirst is there. It is in the 4th house. You are doing also so much for your family, for your home. You are trying to also serve your mother, you are trying to help your mother, but you will always feel that whatever you are doing is not enough. So that that thirst is there, and you will also there will be a sense of dissatisfaction always. That is seen in case of Ketu. Now friends, let us go to 11th house. In the 11th house, if Ketu is well placed, then you will get very good results. You will gain also, yes, you will gain money, you will gain everything, prosperity in life, position, status. In the 11th house, Ketu will give you that. But again, I have seen some people who are really rich, they have Ketu in the 11th house, but even then they are not happy and satisfied. That dissatisfaction also, no matter how much they earn or gain money, that sense of dissatisfaction is there. Because Ketu is in the 11th house. Now friends, remember, wherever Ketu is sitting in your chart, if the aspect of Jupiter falls on Ketu, then Ketu will never trouble you. And that dissatisfaction also will be minimized. Because Jupiter is the ultimate benefic and natural benefic. And Jupiter, Ketu actually is considered to be a disciple of Jupiter. So if Jupiter's aspect is falling on Ketu, then it is very good. Ketu will always give you good results. So friends, now 11th house, you may also not be satisfied with your friend circle and all. So that dissatisfaction is seen. Let us go to the 12th house. If Ketu is in the 12th house, no, it is considered generally to be good, because 12th house in the chart of the cosmic man, it is the house of Pisces, and Ketu is considered to be good in Pisces. It is also the house of spiritual liberation and moksha that we call. So if you have to see how Ketu is placed. If Ketu is well placed, then definitely you will do well. But if Ketu is in the 12th house, I have seen Rahu will be in the 6th house. So such natives, no, they do not have a proper daily routine. They are not disciplined in their daily life. So that may affect their health. So if Ketu is in the 12th house, people tend to neglect their health because they are unable to follow a proper daily routine, because Rahu is in the 6th house. 6th house is the house of daily routine. So then the best remedy for Ketu in the 12th house is that you must stick to a proper daily routine, because you need to be healthy. Then only you can, move towards spiritual liberation. Yes. So, but otherwise, Ketu, if it is well placed in the 12th house, it will also enable you to attain spiritual salvation and liberation. So friends, these are the results that Ketu will give in each of the 12 houses of your birth chart. In my next video, I am going to give you some powerful and wonderful remedies for Ketu. If you do those remedies, very simple remedies, then Ketu will always give you good results in life. So that will, be my next video.